sometimes we forget the unsung hero that is retail. And I think retail gets a bad rap sometimes because we feel as though, oh, it's another thing we have to do. Oh no, we have to force our clients to buy. Oh, there's targets. I'm just creative. I just want to create great hair and great color and great confidence. But actually, we do our clients a disservice if we allow them to leave with incredibly coiffured hair, with amazing styles. We don't teach them how to keep it up, to look after their hair, to maintain the integrity. So actually retail becomes a conversation of creating that confidence and that aftercare as a ritual long after they leave us. And actually every time they use a product, they remember us or they remember some of the things that we taught them. So it actually creates more of a bond and more of a connection. So retail can be looked at in two ways, and it depends on your mindset. And if you take full advantage of what retail has to offer, it will absolutely, categorically transform your business.
Welcome to the Brazen and Bold podcast, where we talk real strategy. And today I'm really excited to introduce a beautiful human with exquisite experience in the realm of sales. He's worked with premier brands throughout the UK and globally, increasing retail sales through high-end story selling. His amazing book that launched within the last year that helps people understand how to connect with their client or audience to really be able to bring emotion into the art of sales. And listen, what if I told you if tuning into the podcast today could grow your business and increase your sales by $100,000 this year? That would get me to listen to this and get my entire team to listen to this. And that is what we're here to deliver. Welcome to the show, Arif.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. Welcome back. Our first episode we did with you was incredible, and I could have paused at every kind of juncture and gone deeper and spoken for another hour with you on every subject. I'm thrilled that we could have you back, and I am joined by my incredible co-host and COO of Spark, Lucy, as well. Thanks for being on, Lucy.
Hi, yes, I'm so excited to dive into this as well. It's really exciting to be able to bring action plans that not only the salon owner can use, but also her team. So let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So if we're talking to a salon owner with an average of 7 stylists, and if each of those team members sold one additional product a day at a value of simply $50, they could generate over $90,000 in additional revenue. This is not going to be through pressure or some kind of aggressive, salesy, obnoxious tactics, because we all know if you work in the salon space, we're not salesy. We don't want to bug people. So, using authentic connection with our guest and more consultation skill and confidence, you're telling me that any listener with an average of 7 team members could make an additional $90,000 this year if they implement what you're going to teach us.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I think sometimes we forget the unsung hero that is retail. And I think retail gets a bad rap sometimes because we feel as though, oh, it's another thing we have to do. Oh no, we have to force our clients to buy. Oh, there's targets. I'm just creative. I just want to create great hair and great color and great confidence. But actually, we do our clients a disservice if we allow them to leave with incredibly coiffured hair, with amazing styles. We don't teach them how to keep it up, to look after their hair, to maintain the integrity. So actually retail becomes a conversation of creating that confidence and that aftercare as a ritual long after they leave us. And actually every time they use a product, they remember us or they remember some of the things that we taught them. So it actually creates more of a bond and more of a connection. So retail can be looked at in two ways, and it depends on your mindset. And if you take full advantage of what retail has to offer, it will absolutely, categorically transform your business.
Having done this in my own salon over the last 5 years as the owner, I can tell you taking retail sales from an abysmal 4 or 5% of our total sales to tripling and quadrupling that. It's absolutely the unsung hero and leaving a ton left on the table for those of us whose teams don't understand how impactful that art form can be. I'd love to know, Arif, as we're diving in, when you walk into a salon and you look around, what do you typically see that tells you that there is opportunity and revenue sitting on the table?
So a lot of people would say that, it would be the location, it would be how beautiful it is. And it's really interesting because I was just speaking Galgorm, which is a really beautiful location island. And I was the keynote speaker at Elevate Spa. So in front of me, I had and there is a reason I'm telling you this story. I had the global director of wellness for the Marriott Group. I had the vice president of wellness and spa for Raffles. I had the Four Seasons there. Some of the highest profile people I've ever spoken in front of who are making incredible decisions that will change the course of wellness, spa, and salon industries globally, especially with the advent of longevity. And I got up on stage in front of these people and I said to them, we need to stop thinking about the optics. We need to stop thinking about our services, stop thinking about our locations, and we need to start really thinking about is the opportunities to make people feel something. It is the emotion that we bring into the conversations that we have that will transform service and transform the user experience for time to come. And what's really important is that it's not about what you have to sell. It is about how you sell it. It is not about what you're offering. It's how you offer it. So every single business has an opportunity to capitalize on this. And I want to make a real point, Heather and Lucy. And I wrote a lot of articles about this, and I'm speaking on stage actually Thursday in the UK and Excel at Tones of Beauty, which is amazing. And in the advent of AI and technology that is a breakthrough, humans are going to value human connection and emotional connection more than anything else. And that becomes currency moving forward. We're going to automate booking systems. We're going to automate payments. However, when we have our stylist in that location, what is going to ensure retail and service and upsell is going to be the way that they communicate with their client. And as we get a much bigger, busier industry that becomes more commercially aware, the challenge is going to be to keep clients because there is so much choice. And that's going to be through having awareness of the emotional engagement we have. So in answer to your question, what do we do? How do I know when there's money sitting on the table? It's how we're offering our products. It's how we are having those fundamental deep questions, how we're building emotional connection, and how we're storytelling. Thus, if we use all those things together, almost like putting a piece of puzzles together, what you see is a great commercial outcome. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I like that you touched on not only the opportunity to grow your business through revenue, again, just $50 product, one product a day,
I know,
additional
it's crazy.
nearly $100,000 in revenue. And that's just for a team of seven. I love that you took
Yep.
that, but also helped us translate it to not only that, but the retention piece, that guest
Mm-hmm.
experience and the critical element of connection, because it is a saturated market, no matter what we want to say about it. And there are options everywhere. People are looking to fill their books, people are looking to grow their client base. And if we're missing this crucial component of connection and helping our guests feel something, we're missing a ton. And, not only that, as a salon owner and a business leader, I can speak to that as leading a team as well. If I'm not helping my team feel something connected to a greater cause or really cared for and nurtured, there's 100 salons looking to hire in my area if you wanted to just pull it up online. And so it won't only set us apart as a guest experience, but also as a team experience. And so I feel like everything that you have to offer is only going to serve to enhance the people who listen and implement into it. If you are considering the current salon landscape, what does that look like
Mm-hmm.
from your vantage point? Where do you see owners getting things right, or stylists as you're speaking to these business owners, and where do you see the gap? In those two ways, what are people doing right now, and where
Yeah.
are you like move into this, push into it hard?
I love that. I think creativity is an all-time high in our industry. I think we're championing creativity so much more in the individual. I think we've been very lucky, and I've been very privileged to work across a lot of sectors within the beauty industry. And I think hairdressing and styling has definitely had its own sense of individuality, where at the end of the day, if you have a salon, you are a brand. And thus, there needs to be consistency in your messaging, in perhaps some of the the attire that people wear, grooming guidelines, if you like that word. I think it's very corporate, but there needs to be a thread coming into play. Um, I think that is also a double-edged sword because I think identity is very, very important. So shaping identity and shaping culture, but that culture identity being translated to the consumer. So everyone who might have their individuality, and as an industry, we're championing creativity. We've got the most incredible events, awards, ceremonies to celebrate successes of people, I think more than ever, and I think you'll agree with me, which is so needed because in such a creative industry, we need to celebrate amazing people. But on the other hand, there is a risk of going rogue, I suppose. And I think I have seen this where I think businesses need to straddle the balance really carefully and think individuality, authenticity is really important, but a commercial mindset, having a steadfast approach that leads to consistency and allowing the consumer, the client, the customer to understand that when they're walking in, they understand the values. They're a part of that culture. And some businesses, and I'm not tying everyone with the same brush whatsoever, okay? Because I love individualistic people. But when I walk into a salon, I like to see people's identities 100%, but I also want to feel as though they're working towards the same goal. And sometimes that's missed. And I think that's not a lack of management skill. I think it's a lack of ensuring that team culture is absorbed, adhered to, and it translates through all areas of the business.
The cohesion piece, right, Arif? The
Yeah,
like it's so critical
absolutely.
that we have. I know if we try to turn everybody into a robot and then we miss the connection piece because people aren't being
Yeah.
authentic. But then when it looks like everyone is running their own independent brand, it's hard for someone to walk in and feel like there's that cohesion. So that's a really great distinction to make. How do you suggest an owner navigates that?
That's a really interesting question, and I love the fact you could have spared 30 seconds. Like as you said, cohesion, really, but I just like to tell a nice story
I
about it.
love, but that's how you
Um,
connect and tell a story, right?
It's true. It is true. Stories are 22 times more memorable than facts alone. And I think that is really important. When you tell a story, people will remember.
Yeah.
So, how does an owner navigate that? I think it's really, they have to be very, very clear with what is their goal, what is their plan, how do they want to achieve what they want to achieve, and what is that culture? And it must be top down. So, everyone needs to be on the same page and really striving towards the same goals. I think there has to be clear distinctions within the business. 'Cause at the end of the day, we're a business. And I know definitely within the US, we operate with a lot of freelance, if you like,
Mhm.
or people who aren't on the main books. But having them feel a part of that culture, or even if they are utilizing a space in your salon and they're an independent, having a flow and a thread of that branding message is really important. It could be a color, it could be a welcome, it could be a call to action, it could be something at the end that we do that everyone does. So it's not about having roboticism, it is about maintaining consistency, but a freedom at the same time. So I think it's a really open question because there's no right or wrong way of doing it. However, I think it needs to be thought through as a process, and like I said, it's a very fine line. So I hope that answers the question.
And I mean, you just said the P word, process, and that's going to be something that a few people in the creative industry might be like, I don't really want to talk about a process. We want to do it as we feel in our hearts. And as a creative artist, someone who's absolutely neurodiverse and struggles for the pinball machine of my brain to go in any kind of straight line down a path. Lucy, you can smile and nod your head. Lucy, I always am like, this is my handler. She makes sure I keep going the right direction because I'm going to go somewhere, but she makes sure I go where I'm supposed to. But that being said, I can tell you firsthand how much having a process stated and repeated and values that are connected with within the team. Like you mentioned, having some of that cohesion clearly communicated really does make a difference to allow for more individuality and more expression. It's actually a launching off point, not any type of confine. And I think sometimes it's difficult for a creative person, especially when I'm like, well, I'm good with processes. I'm the owner. I want there to be structure, but I don't want to make my team mad. I don't want them to leave because they want to do their own thing. And it's like, they want a leader and they want to feel belonging, just as a guest wants to feel emotionally connected to the experience. A team member wants to feel led and connected to a greater cause. And so having those things in place where they're reinforced as a value actually opens up that expression. So thank you for answering in that. Um, I'm curious, why do you think it is that so many salons are busy? Books are full. We can't get you in for 3 more weeks, and yet they're still struggling with profitability. Why do you think that is?
So we have an issue in the UK, and I want to go back also to what you said previously. I think emotional safety is really important, and I think we all need hand holding in the industry, right? So when we are working with our team members, giving some disciplines, process, procedure makes people feel as though they're safe and there's guidance in place rather than just running crazy and just doing what you want, which is always, is great for creative flair, but actually sometimes you need process to ensure that there is emotional safety, which also makes clients feel more safe. Going back to your other question, in the UK, primarily, we don't charge enough. No, so we definitely need to heighten and ensure we're improving our prices to meet the skill. That is something that is happening with a variety of bodies. It is definitely a conversation that is spoken about because there is a skill involved. I don't know in the US if I think there is. I think depending on where you go, there's different levels of pricing. It's not the same whatsoever. So I think that's really, really important. Secondly, I think, Heather, I'm going to say it, the biggest way is to retail. It's to add on additional services during the main service and not being scared of a dirty word of trying to sell something to someone. If we believe that someone wants a balayage because that's going to change their life, if it's $200 or $300, $400, $500, we'll quite happily say, okay, great. The balayage is $500, $800, $1,200. Don't even sweat it. But the fact of a shampoo or conditioner is $50, it strikes the fear into the heart of grown men and women, within that remit or within that realm. So actually, we need to think about utilizing time. And there is a glass ceiling when it comes to the amount of time we have with a client. There is only so much money we can earn in that time frame based on that service. And within that model, there's only ever going to be a certain limit to what you can earn and what you can take. So realistically speaking, we need to think about add-ons, about retails, about rituals. And I spoke about this quite heavily at my speech about a month ago. And I said that salons have an opportunity to become retail target destinations, as in instead of people going to Ulta or even Saks and perusing the beauty stores, they can come to your salon. You have an opportunity to not just sell hair care, you can sell skincare, you can sell makeup, you can sell fragrance. I truly believe in the next 5 to 10 years, the businesses that are going to evolve are the ones that are going to create a community of well-being. I believe that the spa industry is going to have to capitalize on gym, well-being, meditation, rituals, hair care, skincare, all of that. Yet also the salon industry has to capitalize on one-on-one level of luxury service, thinking about services that are appropriate for their clients, underpinning these with additional retail products that are outside of the general remit and creating rituals where people want to build a community. And I think that is going to be the differentiator because there are dime a dozen. That's a UK, that's a British saying. I don't know if you guys, do you use that as well?
Yes.
Dime a dozen?
Yes.
Amazing. Hooray. There are so many locations that have the same services, that offer the same products, that have the same pricing. And what differentiates you is how you are positioning your offering. So I think moving forward, we need to think about it as a holistic opportunity. And that's not hippy dippy, airy fairy. That is thinking about the consumer need is more than just having a haircut or a color. It is a need for emotional transformation. And what can we offer them in those moments? And retail is absolutely a prime example of where to begin because retail is not just selling a product, it is a communication tool. It allows you to deal with hesitation, handle objections, storytell, and learn the art of sales. It is more than selling a product. It builds resilience, it builds robustness within our clients and indeed with our team members. and it needs to be looked at under a finer lens. As you said, 90,000, almost $100,000 selling one product at $50 a day of a team of 7. Madness. Now imagine if your conversion rate was 40, you're 4xing that. You're almost at 500,000. 500,000. No more new clients, no more new services, no more new team members, no more new space. It is madness. I'm so passionate about this that we are not doing more to evolve these conversations in our industry.
That couldn't be more critical. And I mean, your passion is palpable, and it leads to a really high impact. When you work with a salon owner or their teams, what is the biggest mindset shift that you see that leads to this kind of success when they work with you?
Yeah. First of all, I always train this. How do we handle the 4 or 5 main points of objection? That's a big one. So usually I can't afford it. I'll think about it. I'll have a look online. I have to ask my husband. Or there's usually another one that people put in there. And depending on what location, it can be anything for I don't want to treat myself. I don't deserve this. Or I'm using loads of products already. I've just bought loads of products. And I teach them my 3-stage method to handle all of those. Now, you would think that that is the biggest thing, and it's not. The biggest mindset shift that I have to face is the reason why people or what people think about sales. They think that their clients are going to switch off. They think they're going to lose the relationship. They think that they're going to come across as silly and ruin their authority. And they think they're just pressurizing their client. A lot of people assume that clients can't afford it. And I always talk to team members when I'm educating or when I'm taking them through my courses, or my day workshops, and I tell them, look, if there is someone who wanted to go to Hermes and buy a Birkin bag for $14,000, and they told me they didn't have anything to eat, they didn't have a roof under their head, over their head, if they wanted to live under a bridge in a cardboard box, if that was their motivation, that made them happy. It is not up to me, ethically or otherwise, to dissuade someone on how they spend their money. That is not my job. My job is to facilitate that person's needs in that moment. And it's not for me to make an assumption on someone's affordability. My job is to do a recommendation, to give a recommendation as long as I think it is the right thing for that person. Then it is up to them to make that decision. And we have to take that emphasis off ourselves. And we're going to have people say no. We're going to have people say yes. We're going to have people say, I'll think about it. And that is okay. We must service our clients because that is an extension of care. And we must move away from thinking that sales are just sales and educating the purpose of selling. The purpose of selling a product is to ensure that our client's journey is greatly improved, that they're getting better hair outcomes when they leave us. That's it. That's it. And a lot of this is also, I do a lot of work with mental health. I do a lot of work with resilience, a lot of work with vulnerability. In fact, my 2-day training course, the first day is storytelling and dealing with your vulnerability. That's it. We don't even look at sales because if you can have a conversation, take people on a story, take people on a journey, if you can build your confidence in using language and then you understand the disconnect of how you feel when you're the most vulnerable or how your client might feel in a vulnerable situation, and you unpick those feelings, then we have a complete mindset shift.
That shift unlocks so much for us. Thank you for walking us a bit through that
So
journey.
much. No, you're more than welcome, of course.
And so you mentioned so much about storytelling and emotional connection. And in this world, everyone has so many options now, and those options are always changing, always flashing in front of our face. And so, in the recent years, with the modern salon, how are those client expectations? How have they changed? And what do clients really actually want from an experience like that?
Yeah, what a great question. Well, first of all, our consumer and our clients become so much more savvy. They are clued up on education. They are clued up on ingredients, most of them. And yet we still have the same hymn book of which we go by, which is we talk at length, we try to educate, which is absolutely fine. Everyone needs a certain amount of education. And then we talk about ingredients. And actually, most of the time, what we notice is that our client switches off. We might get the glazed eye or the expression where they've just gone and they've left us. What people want to know is, how is this going to make me feel? How is it going to make me feel on my journey? And I think we spend too much time operationally thinking about the ins and outs of, we must tell them about follicular miniaturization. We must tell them about postpartum. We must tell them what's going on with their hair shaft or why they're losing their hair. And we should, absolutely. But we shouldn't go through it with a sermon. We should show our authority and our knowledge, most definitely. But what we must do is underpin how that person feels and think about their future self, how they're going to think about themselves in the future and where they're going to go with this. So I think because we have information at our fingertips and because we are at a stress epidemic more than ever, the time that we have with our clients is really vital to create meaningful conversations which are around them. Now, that's not saying that, because I know people are thinking, when I do that, I have small talk. I talk small talk all the time. We talk about their dog. We talk about their holidays and their kids. Love that. Wonderful. It's part of the parcel. But we still need to bring the conversation back to the confidence of that person in front of us. We need to bring always the conversation back, commercially minded, to how are they going to feel in the future? What is their expectation? What are the next steps? What aftercare care do they need? What do they need from me to facilitate that journey for them? I see a lot of times that our stylists, our hair technicians are phenomenal at doing small talk for an hour or 2 hours, but they miss the point that it has to lead to a more commercial outcome, because we then solidify that conversation. And that's not because we are manipulating the conversation, by no means. But if it's from a place of care and ensuring that our client's going to get the best results, then we must offer additional services. And I say, oh my God, I could talk about your holiday all day. However, I want to just take a moment and just tell you how incredible your hair looks. Now, what I want you to do is I need you to start taking this product away with you today. And you need to start using this every single day. And I really want that confidence to improve. I want you to, really play with your shaggy mane. That's what I call it. Spritz through this hairspray that I love. It's got these wonderful botanicals. It's going to look after your hair for you. You're going to build that confidence in. I'm booking you in 6 weeks' time. We're going to get that color on you as well. And do you know what? We also have this amazing shampoo that's going to give you that color protect. I know you're enjoying your shampoo at the moment, but this is going to really help keep that color in a lot longer for you. So take those with you. And I can't wait to see you again next time. And that's it. You bring the conversation back effortlessly. Just like you talk about holiday, their dog, their kids, your breakup, whatever we talk about. And I know we do these things. And I think that the craziest thing is that stylists are so easy when they build conversation and they talk, they just don't seal the deal at the end.
Hey, business owners. Yes, you. I know you're juggling it all. Marketing, admin tasks, websites, podcasts, social media. The list never ends. That's where Spark comes in. We're a virtual assistant company built just for small business owners, because once you're able to delegate, we know you'll be able to dominate. Our clients are seeing up to 30% increase in social media engagement and sales, all by letting us handle the behind the scenes work. Not to mention an incredible boost in flexibility, profit, and time. So scan the QR code right now to schedule a free chat with my team. Let's make you efficient AF and help you focus on what you do best, growing and leading your business.
Yeah, that's so true about sealing it at the end. I often hear times in the salon, or just conversations between teams during the team meetings, that it is easy to start that. But then how do you interject, about the product pieces, and educating them with that? And so the storytelling that you're talking about. And oftentimes it can be hard for team leaders to get the training from you or other educators, or just even spend time with their teams, and really educating them on how to bring those conversations back. And so I think it's great that you're able to have the system in place for them.
And thank you
Thank you.
for bringing that up. I think that we can hear our team members talk brilliantly about pretty much anything, like your holiday, your breakup, your whatever. I mean, people do not shy away from the most awkward conversations. Heaven forbid all of the blow
They
dryers
don't.
turn off at the same time. And we hear some of those details that are happening. There's always times where I'm like, oh my goodness. And I turn my blow dryer on just so that the little kid next to me does not hear what was happening 3 chairs down. That being said,
Yeah.
we lean into that. The stylists go anywhere. They're like, we're here to have this conversation, but oh my gosh, your scalp is dry, your ends are dry, you need this serum. I can't talk about it, but you should hear the things I don't hesitate to talk about. So it's just
I know.
about you've mentioned and referenced making the transition between the part of the discussion is totally organic, and we flow from everything into resolving that. We just keep it part of the organic flow, and I think that that's a little underrated, and we get in our own heads and freeze when it comes to they really do need this and I should tell them, but I don't know. It's just keeping it part of the conversation. You did not hesitate when they told you about their uterus. Just keep the conversation about what they're asking you about. I mean, seriously.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Like you
It's so
yeah,
true.
talk about the hair serum by all means.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it needs to be done in a really gentle way. And hopefully I gave that example.
Mhm.
It's just about just bringing it back always. And you don't have to leave it to the end. You can do it at the beginning. The consultation for me is the most important part of the journey. So when I work on consultations, we usually see a 20 or 30% increase in retail sales just by tweaking the consultation and selling in the consultation and not leaving it towards the end, which is always people fear that, oh, no, I've done it all. I have to sell, but I can't because we built a relationship and then they're going to think weird of me because they just think that I'm selling. And no, get over it. No.
Mhm. And can you share with us about your training that you offer salons, especially, you're in the UK, you travel a lot. How does that look when you're working with a salon in the US?
Yeah, so I do global training. So I do actually visit different countries and I do training. So I have options. Usually we triple or quadruple retail sales, and it's quite a quick turnaround, which is great. I've just worked with a very luxury hotel spa chain in the UK. Actually, they're global as well, but I primarily worked in the UK. We've grown. I did. An intensive 2 day session in two different locations. And in one location, we've grown retail by 155%, which 155%. That's craziness. Like
Crazy.
even when I got the testimonial through, I was like, that's more than I was expecting. And it was just tweaking these mindset pieces and
Mhm.
storytelling journey and thinking about the right opportunities. But for those of us who can't do days, I have the core, which is my online training portal, which is themed education. Once a month with a community there. And I break down these concepts. So, for instance, January was all about the art of reconfirmation. February was all about how do we deal with objections and handle hesitation. I loved March. March was about how do we create desire. Oh my God. We looked at the hippocampus in the brain. We looked at how to create dopamine. We looked at logic. Versus emotion, and emotion will always override logic. So, how do we create desire in conversations? I loved writing that. So, every month, I write a different theme. It is 1 hour of direct training. And if you miss the lives, which are the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m. UK time, which I believe is 11 a.m. PT time, you can watch it back in a portal. And guys, I'm very happy to announce that we've launched in the US and we have a few US salons on at the moment.
Yes,
So,
congratulations.
and it's going super well. So the average is people are on average tripling their retail turnover per quarter, which is not bad from 1 hour a month, right?
I mean, I'll take it if I must, but if you're happy with your results and you want to stay same, please turn off the podcast, disregard everything else Arif has to share.
Exactly. But no, it's been amazing, and it's growing. The core's growing. At the moment, we're going through accreditation by the Body of Hair and Beauty of the UK. It'll be the first online training of this type ever to have that. And in the UK, we have CPD points, which goes towards additional learning. So you take these points, you put them towards additional courses within the hair industry, which is really lovely. and the industry is starting to recognize it. So I only launched in October. We have almost 80 members at the moment in terms of businesses on there, which is huge. And we're scaling at an unprecedented rate as well. And there's conversations with big chains at the moment. So I'd love it because the cost, it works out the price of a shampoo at wholesale for one team member to join per month. So as long as they sell one shampoo a month, it pays for itself.
And if they don't, I think that's your indication that they're no longer a good fit for your organization. So that's a steal. If you think about the results you're having, 3xing people's retail, it's unreasonable for someone to not at least take a look at what you're offering. I know when we spoke, the price point is so accessible and the results absolutely speak for themselves.
Thank you so much. And I love it as well. It's a pleasure to bring it to the industry. I suppose to coin it, it's the first emotional intelligence sales training for the beauty service industry. So, and what's lovely is the community as well. So there's people from all around the world, different salons, different spas. And I love that because we all learn from each other and we all talk about experiences. So there might be different demographics, but it does not mean that our demographic in our salon might not change. There might be different price points, but that doesn't mean in 6 months another brand might not come in or another service element may come in. And it teaches the fundamental of these emotional sales. It teaches how to build baskets, how to build emotional connection, which also helps moving forward people's services as well, how they can upsell services, how they can feel more confident creating conversations. And it's all around luxury 5-star. So it's about really upskilling individuals, but also upskilling your business.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to stop there. With Spark working alongside salons and their different campaigns, we're taking that storytelling framework and giving that strategy and helping that with social media. Not just doing a post and saying, here's the before and after, share a heart if you like it, but saying the client came in with this problem. Here's the solution that the stylist gave, and this is how it made her feel. And, also incorporating that into email marketing, text marketing, having that signage in the salon also about the different products can go a long way. And so just having the big piece is the stylist being able to communicate through storytelling and not getting so distraught over having to sell, but having those tools on how to communicate, and then full circle with a really great consistent campaign on all of the digital fronts.
Absolutely. That's so amazing. And, it's all pieces of the same puzzle, isn't it? It's all about
Mhm.
communication. It's all about upskilling. And it's all about, at the end of the day, great client satisfaction. And if they are happy, they will spend more. Emotionally invested consumer will spend 80% more in their lifetime.
Oh, wow.
So it's really important that we try to get every single client emotionally invested. And for every dollar you spend in education within the industry, this is a Forbes quote, every dollar you get 4.51 dollars back in revenue.
Wow.
So it is important to upskill your team. And I think we've done it a long time thinking about product skills or understanding ingredients or understanding a brand or understanding the know-how or technical prowess of a balayage or a haircut or a hair color or a style or whatever it is. And we've never invested in people's skills to communicate. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, and like Lucy was saying, being able to have a place for it to be discussed so organically. We've had great feedback with our clients, and then also within my team when we implement having signage, social, and kind of the client facing interaction so that the prompts are there and it feels a little bit more genuine or easy to approach versus like, hey, you should try this. All of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
they see that, oh, like, what's this deal going on? Or what's this promo? Or what's this thing for my summer hydration? We live in the Phoenix Valley. So where I operate a salon, it's basically like a dehydrator or an oven is outside. I live in a blow dryer or a flat iron is what I tell people. So heat
Oh my
protection is
God.
so easy to talk about. But having access to those visuals and then the format to talk about it, I've noticed my team have a lot more success just giving them some of those supports in place as well.
I love that. That's amazing. And so vital because it's that whole 360, isn't it? It's that whole customer journey piece.
in salon training, you do the consultations as well as how to communicate through storytelling for those product sales and enhancements, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So, we do a lot of workshops, kind of think tank set elements. We do a lot of role play. I know people cringe at role play, but it really is the only way to see
Yeah.
what people are doing and to understand the disconnects and to really help them plug those. Lots of storytelling, lots of focus on language. There's things like the stepping out statement. There's lots of psychological tactics that we use also within it. So it is almost like a 360, yeah, which is great.
Awesome. I love that. I was so excited to get you back on to kind of dive a little bit deeper into those offerings that you have and also talk about your book as well. And then where is your book available?
So, Storyseller, I wrote with Nicola J. Rowley, who's an ex-BBC journalist. She's got her own PR business.
Hmm.
She's incredible. Storyseller is about selling through the power of storytelling, which is what I'm known for. So this is on Amazon. It is purchasable in the US. It's a UK and US bestseller in 3 categories, which was wonderful. And there's some incredible frameworks in here as well, which take you through not just how to sell product, but to think about how you position your business within PR, how to build a story, how to think about your offering, how to think about how you engage on a fundamental level with your wider audience, how to build authenticity and your authority, and also how to play with vulnerability. Chapter 1 is Nicola's story. Chapter 2 is my story, where we really open up to you about our lives. And then we go straight in with chapter 3, which is getting vulnerable. And vulnerability is so important. Like, there you go, chapter 3. It's all about getting vulnerable with your own story. And for me, that's really important about holding the keys to your vulnerability, because when you own vulnerability, you can share empathy on a wider level and build trust far easier. But something that Nicola always says, who's my co-author, never share, always share from the scar and never the wound. And I love that,
I love
because it
that.
means that you can share from things that are real, that have hurt in the past, but as long as they've healed. Don't share from things that are visceral or apparent at the moment that get you physically upset. We've all been through different things and stages in our lives. And we do a course called Storyseller. And in the book, you'll find ways of finding out more about that. But basically, everyone is at a place in their life because of transformation that's happened or decision that they've made. And there has been some reason to why you are where you are, doing what you are doing. And sharing that and the vulnerability that's led you there allows you to open up on a far bigger field. When I was writing the book, I had to confront my vulnerability. And my vulnerability was that I lost my voice at a very young age. People say, oh, you're a trainer, you're an educator because you love helping people. Yeah, that's surface level. But actually, I was bullied when I was younger, when I came out. I hate that saying. But when I came out to my friends at school, it was year 9 underneath the playground, underneath the stairs, we had an area. And my peers and my group of friends, I remember we were having a conversation and I would try to get my point across, but everyone would just shun me and basically say, oh, what do you know? You're gay. Like that was what they said. So after multiple months of this happening, I became very insular. I became very self-conscious and I lost all of my confidence. And it was a reason, and I didn't realize it until I became a lot older, was now that I speak on stages, now that I educate people, yes, it's about empowering them, but it's also about helping people find the voice that I lost. And I never realized that, because I don't want anyone to ever feel insecure, not confident. I don't want anyone to look at sales as a scary thing. I want them to own their superpower, and your language, your voice, and how you communicate with people is your superpower. And we all are unique in doing that. So if I can build that in someone and make them feel super confident in any aspect of their life, and by the way, my work doesn't just permeate the beauty industry. I've been asked to speak now on fitness panels. I did my first ever keynote at a fitness event, which was incredible 2 weeks ago. Where I had terrible imposter syndrome, all these men who are all fitness, and there I am from the beauty industry. And they're all sitting there in the audience. And I was telling them about storytelling, because it transcends and it translates. And what's so beautiful is that the people that I work with have growth, not just in sales, not just in their industry, but in themselves as people, in how they communicate and how they feel and how they develop in their confidence. And that, for me, is so powerful. And that's why I'm on the mission that I'm on. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think what you just shared really leads into how one can understand, even in what you did just now. I was with you in grade, you were 9 years old or you were in ninth grade?
Grade nine. So
Grade
how old
nine.
was I? 14 or 15, I
So
think.
I
Yeah.
was with you in the playground and I felt the emotions of like wanting to protect you and wanting to like stand up for my bestie and say, wait, what he has to say matters. And you took me there with you, and then you took me to how you withdrew, and then how you started to grow and why this matters to you. And just now, masterfully so, I might add, you took us through the arc of what connection, vulnerability, and storytelling will do to draw someone in and to want to invite them to be part of whether it's your brand, your culture, the product, the experience, or the ritual, as you call it. And I think that that really helps the listeners and myself included understand how to take something from being transactional. You know, a lot of us in our consultation experience, it's here's what we're going to do, and here's how it's going to go, and da 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 da. And now we're like, bam, 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 checking the boxes. It takes us from that, which we need to cover those basics and what do you want to call it? Those touch points need to be covered. But it
Mm,
it invites us to shift into transformation via
yeah.
that connection. So I think that that's something that is hard to overestimate how much that can do for us as stylists. And then I also love how you carried that through to this isn't just about sales. This is about how you can enhance yourself as a human being and connection
Yeah.
on every level in every area of your life. Um, Raise your hand if you don't want that. Nobody's hands are up, right? We like everybody wants that. We all
No,
want that, right?
we all
If I'm
want
like,
that.
I'm good. I'm so happy. I'm so self actualized. No progress for me. I don't think anybody that spends their time investing in education or listening or learning more about leadership would turn away from a chance to help transform what they're doing like that. So thank you.
No, thank you. And it's really interesting because I, when you're in business, you always go on and on and on. You never celebrate the successes. And the other day I was having a conversation with someone in terms of what are my sales successes, what are my sales results. And when we looked at all the brands that I've worked with 53 brands in 7 years of my own consultancy. I've worked all around the world, Asia, Australia. I just trained Mecca stores 2 weeks ago online for a new actually hair serum launch by a French brand, C27. But half of it was emotional sales training, which was the brand had never done before. Anyway, my time on QVC, training Burdolph Goodman, because like I told you before, on my QVC stint, I sold £76,000, so almost $90,000 of hair product in 7.5 minutes when my target was $3,000 and a 10-minute show. So the value of human connection story is huge, but I undersell it. So I have contributed to almost £45 million of sales in my career through the frameworks and my education from some of the top retailers in the world. When you walk in, you try to purchase a skincare, hair care, fragrance, will be using the training that I built for them. Commercially speaking, Schwarzkopf Cow uses my training. That's insane. And again, it's a pinch me moment. I don't usually talk about it, but I think people need to understand the commercial impact of what we create here and the commercial impact of intelligent emotional sales, of thinking differently about that customer journey, that client journey, and thinking differently of how education at this level can really help turn around your business. That's not a bad thing to put on my repertoire, is it? Almost
Yeah.
45 million pounds of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't get that though. I didn't get any of that,
Yeah.
but that's what I've created.
Right.
that's incredible.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
love
it's a
your
bit mental
passion.
actually.
And I think that it's such an important part of, why you have been successful. And so just kind of also just really taking that passion to the salons is so powerful, and giving that spark back to the team of how they can really create and make every appointment because, they're seeing guest after guest, but keeping that passion alive and really listening and creating that connection and then being able to get that client to come back in and help them meet their personal goals with the product sales that they're doing. So I think it is all full circle and I love your passion.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I love your passions as well. You guys are so astute, so on it, so ahead of the curve. It's wonderful being with you, honestly.
And I personally, and I mean, I could I could probably take 5 more episodes to just allow you to expand further, and if you'd be willing to join us on a third show, that would be incredible, to dig deeper a little bit into some of the concepts that we didn't have time to expand on, because I just feel that you have so much to add to our industry, to this concept, and to this discussion and value. We can talk about how an overwhelmed owner can start to translate the frameworks and the skills that they're gaining from you, and how a virtual assistant can support them in their follow through and the execution piece, and also in
Mhm.
continuing to coach their team. We can talk about more about how to go from transaction to transformation and some of the key components in that. I feel like there's a lot more to dive into. If you'd be willing to join us, yes, I am asking you live and on the spot. But I know for a fact that me and Lucy would
Of course.
absolutely
I'd
love
love
the chance
to.
to work with
I'd
that.
love to.
Until I can position Spark to host an event and collaborate with you live and in person for 2027, this is just us planting the seeds for some kind of amazing event on the West Coast. That's my dream in life. So anyway, if we would be willing to do that. And Lucy, did you want to add anything as we wrap?
No, I'm excited. This was so educational and just really great points about how to really help meet your salon goals through storytelling. And so, if this resonated with you or you want to learn more, all in the show notes, we'll put links to Arif's website. And, we're always looking at different ways that we can help salon owners and salon management teams free up time so they're not stuck behind the computer and they can actually implement these things with their salon teams.
Yeah. Our goal, I believe, is shared, Arif. We are looking to help support the industry and people to really succeed beyond their wildest dreams. And you're doing it through the high EQ in sales. We're looking to accomplish this through high EQ in leadership through our salon teams, and then also the systems and those processes that we help people execute and follow through. And so I'm so appreciative that we had the chance to meet, that we've been able to enjoy 2 separate shows with you, and now look forward to scheduling a chance to launch a third, just so we can we can continue to learn and then develop what we're doing as a, I would say, a team with a shared passion for our industry. So thank you, Ara, for your time, and thanks, Lucy, for helping with this interview.
Thank you both. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.